Hello friends, welcome to the fifth part of the Codable series protocol. Now in this video we are going to use the encoder. So what does that mean? Means like we have to convert the object model into a JSON so that we can send that particular JSON to the server or wherever you want. Okay, so our aim will be to convert our user object or the root object from the last few videos to this JSON. This JSON consists of a root object as a dictionary. It has a users array, and in the array it has two objects. So we'll try to create exactly the replica of this JSON from JSONencode. So let's start. So first we have to comment this. Since we are not fetching any URL, we have to make a URL. So let me make a user object. It's a structure, so where user, and this is my structure for the user. I'm going to make an initializer for that, and in the initializer I'm going to initialize some default values for my attributes. So address, and by default it will be empty, and salary, let's say 0. Now I have to fill the specific values as per the JSON here. So let's assume I'm filling user dot is active as true, user dot name as Rajan, user dot salary as 1000, and user dot address as address dot init. Delhi is the state and country is India. Fine. So this is our object. Now this object should be converted to a specific JSON. So what we are aiming for, this specific JSON where we have a name, is active, address and company. So let's start. For this we have to change this to Codable, or we can have an encodable protocol here. So it's better to use Codable because Codable consists both of them. Now let's build it to see if everything is working. No, it shows an error that type user does not conform to protocol encodable. For this we have to use this function encode. It is present in the encodable protocol, and where you will use it, and we'll try to make the complete container. Okay, now let's run this app again. So build is succeeded now. So this is our object. We have to use an encoder. So let encoder JSONencoder dot output formatting. I'll keep that as pretty printed. Fine. And then I have to use this encoder to encode the object of user. Fine. So this is again a function which throws something. So I'll use a do try catch block, and here I'm just going to print the error dot localize description, and let JSON or let data equal to encoder dot encode user with a try. Okay, so what this line will provide, it will provide an encoded JSON format which we use to send in the httpBody of our web services. Okay, so let's convert this data into a string format so that we can basically see what actually the data is converted into. So string data, and the encoding strategy will be UTF-8. It returns an optional. So if let JSON equal to this string thing, and I'm going to print the JSON. That's it for the time being. Okay, so let's run the app and let's see what happens. Okay, so here's our data. So we got an error. The data couldn't be written because it isn't in the correct format. It's probably due to we have written an encoded function, we are not working on it. And so in order to fix this thing, if you are writing the encode function, you have to make a container for that. So let's make a container where container equals to encoder dot container and coding keys dot self. So now this is our container which will be made. Let's run the app again. Okay, so yes, so can you see an empty JSON here? Yes. So probably what is happening, like, we are making a container, but we are not filling any of the values in the container. So one by one, we'll try to fill all the values to make this JSON similar to this REST API JSON. Okay. So this is a container. Now this, in this empty container, what we will do? We will fill one by one the attributes of this user class. Name is active, address, and salary. So let's start this. For this, we have to write try container dot encode, and let's say we have to encode name, and the name is the name in the coding keys here. Fine. Let us run the app again and see if there is anything which is now present in the JSON, since we have uh, encoded the name. Yes, so we got a JSON where we are getting the name key with our value, and the value is coming from here. Fine. Now similarly we have to encode all the other things. So we have name, is active, and address. So let's take is active and address. Okay, so let's see. As soon as I wrote address, it will not be able to encode itself, because this is again a decodable, and we have to write encodable or codable. So that can be used for both the decoding and encoding purposes. So now check out the JSON. Let's see. Okay, so far the JSON is fine. We got a name key, is active key, and an address key. Basically an address dictionary which has a state and a country key with their respective values, which I have filled here, Delhi and India. So far so good. We are able to make the JSON till here. Now we have to make the company container where we can have the salary key present in there. So how to do that thing? For that thing, first we have to create a nested container for our company. So how can we do that? Now where company, this is a nested container, and it should be like container dot nested container, and the protocol, the keyed by will be the coding keys dot self as our, and key will be company. So if you run the app again, you'll see that we'll get an empty dictionary of company with nothing in it. So far so good. So we have got an empty dictionary of a company. Now in this empty dictionary we have to add various values, and what are those? Basically we have only a salary in that case, so we will add a salary. How? Just like the above thing, try company dot encode salary. Now let's print the complete JSON and see if everything is fine. Okay, so can you see the JSON here? Is active at the root level, name, address. At the root level, address is a dictionary, and in that dictionary we have two keys, state and country, and company is again a dictionary. We have a key called salary in that, and the data is coming from this object. So basically this object is totally converted into a data format here up in this line, and this data in bytes basically is sent in a URL session where when we create a URL request, we have to enter a body. So request.httpBody equals to this data. So this is a use of encoder where we can just make the data using the JSON encoder without using any serialization function or anything like that. Okay, now the thing is, let's assume that we are having a users array and we have to make that array specific to the JSON encoder thing. So how we convert that into this specific JSON? For that, we have to go to the root level and make that as Codable. Also, we have to write this enum because we want an array of users, so we need a key of users. That's fine. And let's create an object of root as well. So I think no need to create a constructor here. We should just create a simple object of root and root dot init, and in this we will be passing the array of users. So we have a single object for the time being, so we'll use this and we will pass the root here. So let's see whether it will work or not. Okay, perfect. So you can see that at the root level we got an array now of users, and in that user we have an object of this user here. Okay, let's create another object. This is user, let's say this is user 1, and let's create another user, user 2. Let's name is John. Let's make it salary as 2000 and address as, let's say, Mumbai, or maybe some other place like Chennai, country India, and add this object in the root array, and let's run the app again and see what the JSON is now. Okay, so can you see the JSON? So we have a JSON of two users. One is Rajan, one is John, and both are picking the values from this object, user 2 and user 1 respectively, and we are creating the encodable thing. Basically, we are creating a JSON to be sent to the web service or anything, wherever we want to send this JSON using the JSON encoder technique. This line only helps us to just display the JSON. We only need till this line where we are converting the complete root in the form of data, and this data of 400 bytes should be sent to the web service where it is required. So in this way we can use an encoder, and this really helps us to create a very simple classic JSON with minimal lines of code. And you can compare the JSON here. You can see users with name, is active, address, and company. Similarly here is active, company, name, and address. So this is all about JSON encoding technique, where we can use an encoder and convert everything into a data format, which is ultimately a JSON. So this is all for this video, and in the final video, I guess that should be the final video, we will be covering the decoding of the snake cases, where we have certain keys in the snake case form, underscore first name, first underscore name, or last underscore name, some sort of keys like this, and we will handle those keys and try to check how we can manage that thing. Okay, so this is the JSON encoder. So thanks for watching. If you have anything anything missed at my side, or maybe if you have some suggestions, please do let me know. Thank you so much.